Just imagine, if you've ever sat alone on a late-night bus and felt someone watching you, these stories will confirm your worst fear. The scariest people aren't in the dark. Sometimes they're sitting right behind you. Tonight, you'll hear 3 true bus horror stories submitted by viewers who swear they'll never take public transport again. Story 1. The Man Who Never Blinked. I still don't know how I made it home alive that night. This happened in 2019, when I used to take the last Route 18 bus after my late shift. It was almost midnight, freezing outside, and I remember the windows fogging so much that I could barely see my own reflection. There were only 3 people on board: the driver, a sleeping old woman, and a man sitting all the way in the back row. I noticed him the moment I sat down, not because he moved or made a sound, but because he wasn't blinking. At first I thought maybe he was tired, zoning out. I told myself, don't be paranoid, it's nothing. But every time I glanced back, his head was tilted slightly, eyes wide open, staring directly at me through the dim bus light. I tried ignoring him. I put in one earbud, only one, just so I could still hear what was going on. But even with music playing, I could feel his stare like a physical weight pressing on my neck. 5 minutes later, the bus hit a bump, and I saw something that made my skin crawl. He didn't flinch, not even a twitch. His eyes stayed locked on me, unblinking, unbothered. I shifted seats. I moved 2 rows forward. I told myself I was overreacting, that maybe he was blind or something. I even turned fully around and gave a polite half-smile like, "Sorry if I misunderstood." He smiled back. But it wasn't a normal smile. It stretched too wide, too slow, like he had to remember how to do it. And then he finally blinked, one long slow blink like he was resetting. My stomach dropped. As the bus drove through a darker part of the route, the lights flickered. When they came back on, the man was sitting 2 rows closer to me. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't feel the seat move. He was just there. I whispered to myself, no, it's the lights. Maybe he moved while I wasn't looking. But then he spoke. In a low, whispery voice, he said, "You moved?" So I moved. I panicked and stood up. The driver yelled, "Sit down. We're on a turn." But I didn't care. I ran to the front and sat right behind him, trembling. I kept repeating, "Some guy is messing with me." But the driver brushed it off, saying weirdos rode at night all the time. When we reached my stop, I jumped off before the doors even fully opened. As I started running toward my apartment, I glanced back. The man was standing in the bus doorway, half his face hidden in the shadows, staring at me with that same dead expression. And right before the bus pulled away, he whispered something I could hear from all the way across the street. "We'll finish the ride another night." I changed my schedule the next day. I never took Route 18 again, but sometimes when I'm alone on any bus, I swear I feel eyes on me. If you think that was unsettling, the next story proves that sometimes the danger doesn't come from a stranger, but from the person you trust to drive the bus. Story 2. Don't talk to the driver. This story is from when I was 17. I used to take the early morning school bus, 5:45 a.m., pitch dark outside, barely awake inside. Our regular driver, Mr. Halbrook, was this friendly old guy who always had coffee breath and made terrible jokes. But one Monday, he wasn't there. The substitute driver looked off. His uniform didn't fit right. His hair was greasy like he'd slept in it. And he didn't say a word, not even a hello. The moment I stepped on the bus, he just stared at me, this slow up and down like he was studying me. I sat in my usual seat, second row. Only 5 other students were on board, all half asleep. The bus pulled out, but something felt wrong immediately. He was driving too slow. Way too slow, like 10 miles per hour on a road where cars normally flew past. I told myself maybe he was being cautious. Maybe he was new to the route. But then I watched him in the mirror. He kept looking at us, not the road. Long, creepy stares, rotating between our seats like he was counting us. Eventually he muttered something. I didn't catch it, so I assumed he was talking to himself. But then he said it again, louder. 6, there are 6. He said it like a correction, like he was confirming something. I tried shaking it off, but a few minutes later, out of nowhere, he slammed the brakes. Everyone lurched forward. The bus had stopped in the middle of a forested road. No houses, no streetlights, nothing but trees. The substitute stood up, turned around slowly, and scanned us with this cold, almost hungry stare. "Does anyone want to sit closer to the front?" he asked. Nobody answered. He took a deep breath and whispered, "It's safer up here." "With me." One girl started crying softly. I reached for my phone under the seat and texted my mom. "Driver isn't normal. Something's wrong." Before I could hit send, I heard footsteps. He was walking down the aisle, slow, heavy, deliberate. I froze, pretending to look out the window. He leaned down over me, so close I could smell cigarettes on his jacket. "You're awake," he said. "Good, I need someone awake." Then he smiled. A cracked, split-lip smile. Suddenly, bright headlights appeared behind us. Another bus. Our real school bus. The substitute tensed, then rushed back to the driver's seat and sped off like a maniac. But the second bus followed, honking non-stop until the man finally stopped. Our actual driver jumped out and stormed to us, yelling, "Are you kids okay?" The substitute bolted out the back emergency door and sprinted into the trees. Police searched for 3 hours. They never found him. We found out the next day he wasn't a substitute. Not from the district, not from any company. The man had simply climbed into the bus that morning, put on an old jacket, and taken us. I still wonder what would have happened if those headlights hadn't appeared when they did. Or why he kept counting us. Over and over. The last story is shorter, but the fear lingers much longer, because it happened in broad daylight with people all around, and still no one helped. Story 3. The girl in the window seat. This happened last summer. I was taking a cross-city bus on a hot afternoon, heading to visit my sister. The bus was packed, standing room only, so when I got a window seat, I felt lucky. A teenage girl sat next to me, quiet, maybe 15 or 16. She kept clutching her backpack like her life depended on it, so I didn't think much of it. The bus ride was normal for the first 15 minutes. Then the girl whispered, "Please don't look behind us." I froze. Her voice cracked like she'd been crying. I asked, "Are you okay?" She shook her head, squeezing her backpack tighter. He followed me on. He keeps whispering my name. I don't know him. My blood went cold. I didn't turn around, but I could feel someone leaning forward in the seat behind us, too close. The girl whispered, "He said he knows where I live. He said he's been watching me." I whispered back, "Tell the driver." She shook her head violently. "He said if I move, he'll follow me off the bus." At the next stop, a group of people got off, and I used the moment to casually adjust my posture and finally glance back. There was a man sitting 2 rows behind us, leaning into the aisle, eyes locked on the girl. His lips were moving, whispering, and the second he saw me looking, he smiled. This slow, creeping grin that didn't match his eyes at all. The bus began moving again, and the girl started quietly sobbing. I stood up, grabbed her hand, and said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Come on, we're getting off." The man immediately stood up too. I yelled, "Driver! Call police! This man is following her." The driver froze, looking at us through the mirror. Passengers turned. Some looked confused, some scared. The man stared at me, expressionless, then slowly sat back down. He didn't move, didn't blink, just watched us walk up the aisle. The driver stopped the bus and locked the doors until police arrived. But when they boarded, he was gone. He'd slipped out through the back emergency exit while everyone was distracted. They never caught him. The girl told me later that she had never seen him before that day, but that he knew her full name, her route, her school, even her sister's name. I still ride buses sometimes, but I never take window seats anymore. It's too easy to get trapped. If you made it to the end, you're braver than most people who ride the bus at night. If you want more true horror stories, hit like, subscribe, and comment do more bus stories so I know you made it through. Sleep well, if you can.